One way to talk about the truth is to say that it is non-conceptual. It is empty. One way that that's talked about from a Zen teaching perspective is Zen mind, beginner's mind. Beginner's mind means that you don't have any knowledge. You don't have any preconceptions. You don't have any understanding. Beginner's mind. Another way of talking about it is to say it's the don't know mind. Don't know mind. The mind that doesn't have stuff in it, it doesn't have a history, it doesn't have understanding, it doesn't have conditioning, it doesn't have a form. Empty, don't know, right? This don't know experience is there all the time. And Kensho, the awakening or the enlightenment experience as it's defined in Zen, is the recognition of the don't know, the experience of not knowing, non-conceptual. Right? So that's I've been referring to the Heart Sutra these days when I talk, because the Heart Sutra is considered one of the highest teachings. And it talks about the fact that the don't know mind, the empty mind, and the full mind, the don't know mind and the know mind, right, they're two sides of the same coin. We're familiar with the know mind. Most human beings consider the know mind to be the truth. To be the know mind is the mind that I am who I think I am. I know who I am. Most people will say, I know who I am. What do they mean? They mean I know that I think that I know who I am. That's the know mind. That's the knowing mind. And that's the mind that we value. That's the mind that values education, right? Because education is what? Getting knowledge, getting information, filling the mind with concepts and ideas about who you are and about what life is and how it all works. And because it's lopsided, because the know mind is ignoring the don't know mind, the know mind considers itself to be all there is, and because of that, it is missing the experience that the don't know mind provides. The experience that the don't know mind provides is the natural state. I am happy. Why am I happy? I don't have any reason not to be. That's a don't know mind, right? I'm peaceful. Why am I peaceful? Why not? Right? I'm satisfied. Why am I satisfied? I don't know why I'm satisfied. I'm just satisfied. Because in the don't know mind, there is no time-space game being played in which the idea that satisfaction, fulfillment, and peace is not in your natural existence, it's in your world to be gotten. And therefore the pursuit of it becomes relevant. Pursuit of happiness, pursuit of peace, So that's what you're doing, when you're in that state of mind, when you wake up in the morning, you're doing what that state of mind does. It's seeking happiness, isn't it? You may not look at it that way, but what are you doing? What are you using your energy for? And when you wake up in the morning, what are you doing? What are you using your energy for? You're using it to get stuff. You're using it to go places where there's stuff to get. You do things that will allow you to get stuff, get money, so you can get more stuff, right? Why? Because in the state of lacking, in the state of ignorance, in the state of I am not happy, in the state I am not satisfied, right? And then with the education you get, the conditioning and the indoctrination through society, through your parents, through the so-called educational process, right? Tells you, okay, here's the deal. If you want to be happy in life, you got to get a good education. Why? because you have to learn things, you have to get knowledge, and the more knowledge you have, the more ability you will have to operate in the world in a way where you can get more faster, right? So you learn the game. Kids learn the game that gets played. And when that education is given, the way it is given is that this is all there is. When you go to school, the teacher doesn't say, this is the typical reality and this is another reality. Which reality would you like to learn about? They don't do that. No, they say, this is reality. This is the case. This is how it works. This is what you need to learn. You need to be civilized. You need to follow authority. You need to control yourself. Isn't that what you learn when you're a kid? You need to control those emotions. You need to control yourself. You need to pursue happiness. You need to do your homework. You need to learn as much as you can, as fast as you can. And the competition is on now. Competition is on now. If the teacher says to the class, okay, I used to have a teacher, a math teacher in junior high, and the way he set the class up, well, he set rows of chairs, right? And if you were in this row in this seat, you were the smartest kid in the class. How did he know that? Because every day what he would do is he would give you a math assignment on the board. Everybody would do this, he would put a problem on the board. Everybody would do the problem, right? And then you would come up to him when you finished it, and he had a fountain pen with red ink, and he would look at what you did, and he would, if it was the correct thing, he would just say, okay, you got it. If it was incorrect, he would cross out what you did and put what the right thing is, right? And then you get points. So that assignment was worth 4 points today. So you either got 4 points or you didn't get it right, so you got 3 points, but you got part of it right. If you didn't get it all right, you got no points. And so your points keep getting added up day after day after day, and the person with the most points is in the first seat in the row, and then behind them is the next person with the less points, and the person over here is the dumbest one in the class.
That's where I was.
And then if you misbehaved in the class, right? If you misbehaved, he would say, okay, that'll be 2 points. He would take points. So I'll make you dumber in the class, so everybody can see where you are, right? And it worked. It worked. It was a perfect psychological situation, because you didn't want to look stupid, right? You didn't want to. So you behaved yourself so you didn't lose points. And you did your damnedest to try and get the problems right so you could move your chair up in the class, right? Perfect model of society, right? So when you're a kid in a class like that, you're learning that this is reality. Reality is you're in competition with the rest of the world. Reality is how much you know and how much you get it right gives you status in the situation that you're in. And in the world, he's preparing you in this synthetic reality in the classroom, because in the world, it's a money situation. People that make the most money are in the first seats, and the people that are poorest are in the other seats. Right? So it's a perfect setup, right? Yeah. The thing about it, though, is that there is nothing about the entire process that provides you with the opportunity to experience well-being. Completely absent from the process. There's nothing in the process that allows you to experience well-being. What you do experience is you experience anxiety about performance, right? You experience low self-image if you're in the wrong part of the room, right? Low self-image. And that's presented to you like this is real, this is the way things work, right? So if you learn it here and you get it here, when you leave here, you can be successful out there, because this is the same game out there that everybody's playing. And there is no conversation about how happy you are, how satisfied you are. None of that is relevant at all. That's not involved. That's not involved. It's not dealt with at all. It's not dealt with at all. Well, it is dealt with in a roundabout way, because the message that you're getting is that if you want to be happy, you better get this shit right, because being happy will be directly related to how good you can perform out there in the world, because that's how you get to be happy, is your performance. That's how you get to be happy, is you get to make more money than other people, and you get to have more status than other people, and you get to become famous if you're really successful. Right? And then those people that get that money and that fame, they're happy. Now the reality of it is the people who get that money and get that fame, they have drank the Kool-Aid, so to speak. You know, they have bought into the system that way, right? So now they get the money, they succeed, they use up all their energy, they focus all their energy, they succeed, they become wealthy, they become rich, they become famous. And then people look at them, you know, the people look at them to see, okay, they're happy, they're supposed to be happy now. And the way those people who have quote unquote succeeded where they're at now is they're forced to pretend. They're forced to pretend. What are they going to do? Say, I dedicated my whole life to making money in order to be happy, and I'm miserable, I failed.
Or they melt down.
Or they just melt down and go nuts and get a gun and start killing people, you know, or they get strung out on painkillers, you know, or they get strung out on other things, or they take psychedelics so they can trip out instead of be in the world, right? So that's what's going on. And what we're talking about here is the fact that the mistake that was made there is fundamental. It's a root mistake. You know, the mistake that was made there, the game that's getting played is founded on the idea that you are a physical body and a separate self. Then the game unfolds of what you need to do in order to get your life to work and be happy in this world. Of course, it doesn't work. And through the failures and through the discomfort and the suffering that goes on, some people look for alternatives. Some people are interested in getting the question answered, is this all there is? You know, is this all there is? That's what the Buddha, that's the question he had when he left the palace. Is this all there is? Am I going to just get old, sick, suffer, and die like the rest of these people? Is this all there is? So the answer to that question from a spiritual perspective is no, this is not all there is, and you will never experience what's possible in that system. You will never be happy, it's not possible. You will never be satisfied, it's not possible. You will never be at peace, it's not possible. You will suffer and then die in that system. There is no other possibility. And even the people that look like they succeeded in that system, they're in a worse position than people that didn't succeed because they're suffering and they have to pretend they're not. That's the pressure that'll make them go off the deep end. You know what I mean? That their psychological system can't deal with it anymore. You know, it becomes overwhelming to live a pretense, to act like you know, to act like you know what you're doing, to act like you have succeeded and you're happy and satisfied and peaceful. And even with the people that are in that pretense, if you look closely at them and you look at what's going on in their life, the evidence is there. You know, the evidence is there that they're not happy. They're switching off wives. They're going crazy. In terms of their behavior, and they demonstrate the futility, the possibility by making billions of dollars. And if you listen to them talk, what are they interested in? Making more billions of dollars. So the possibility is always available, and the possibility is non-conceptual. So if you want to really get down to the nitty-gritty in terms of, what is Kensho? What is this possibility of being aware of my true nature? Well, okay, your true nature, the awareness that you are is here now. It's here, it's always here now. So that's a clue, right? It's always here, right? And that experience could be talked about conceptually by calling it a non-conceptual experience. It can be talked about conceptually by calling it a non-conceptual experience in terms of pointing to the idea that it's empty, pointing to the idea that there is nothing happening. There is no knowledge there. There's no knowledge there. It is that space in which knowledge can occur, but it itself is no knowledge. It is just aware. And the emptiness that is just aware is filled. The emptiness just aware is filled because it's fulfilled. It's filled because in the emptiness is the experience of well-being, satisfaction, and peace, because there's no circumstances there that could change that. It's empty. This is there all the time. You've got to be willing to take the understanding that while thinking is happening, there is this not thinking that's there. There is this not knowing that's there while thinking is happening, right? So what to do is when you're practicing meditation or when you're looking to experience the truth, right? What to do, what there is to do is to see if you can, I mean, this is the practice of meditation. To see if while the thinking is happening, you can notice the space in which the thinking is occurring. While the thinking is happening, you can notice there's a space between the thinking, space between the thoughts. While the thinking is happening, you can notice there is a non-thinking, there is a non-conceptual reality going on there. It's sweet, it's very sweet, it's very soft, it's very subtle, and it's empty. And when you come upon this through meditation, or if it just happens, it could just happen because you've had the intention to notice it. It could just happen because the suffering gets so intense, you know, that you just have a breakdown, and that breakdown is a breakthrough, because when the breakdown occurs, this is the way it's happened for some people. When the breakdown occurs, the system can no longer function. You know, in Eckhart Tolle's case, it was a matter of suicide. The system can no longer function. I can no longer stand experiencing my life as this person that I consider myself to be. I can no longer stand that. I can't go any further. I can't go on like this. You know, that's a breakdown. Right? And if before you actually kill the transportation, you know, you notice, because you're on the verge, you're on the edge of that which is empty and formless, you're on the verge, right? If at that point you see it, once you see it, you realize, I'm not desperate, you know. All along, this is what I've always wanted has been here all along. This is what Eckhart Tolle experienced. So it happens that way sometimes, right? But the way that it happens more than not is the way that we're kind of dealing with it here. You practice it, you learn about it, you learn about the truth, you learn about the teachings about the truth. You give it consideration. And when you're practicing it, you're literally practicing discovering what's over here that's always been here while you were busy thinking. You're discovering that by moving your attention away from thinking over to here, aware of the body breathing. The illumination, the body breathing appears to me because it's illuminated by the awareness. You get that? Otherwise it wouldn't appear. Awareness is illuminating that which is appearing. It's illuminating that. It's the light of consciousness. It's the light of awareness that's allowing form to be seen. So when you move away from thinking and you're experiencing being aware of the body breathing, this awareness which is illuminating the body breathing so you can see the body breathing, so you can be aware of the body breathing, this awareness that's illuminating it, right? At some point it's like, oh, that's me. It's not, you know, it's not that there's something here aware of the awareness that's aware of the breath. No. There's nothing here. I am that's aware of the breath. That's kensho, that's contact, that's making contact with your true nature, right? And when you make contact with that true nature, what you're making contact with is emptiness. You're making contact with space in which things appear, right? That's what you're making contact with. The most fundamental aspect of your experience is the existence of your experience itself. Yes? The most fundamental aspect of your experience is the existence of your experience itself. Therefore, existence, the existence of the experience itself, existence, what is the experience of the existence? Consciousness. And then when there is the existence and experience of the existence as consciousness, then what's over here?
Happiness.
Yeah. What's over here is the natural state, fulfillment. I am what I am. I exist, I am the awareness, I am what I am. And when I am what I am, the experience of that is peace, happiness, and satisfaction. It's just that way. It's just that way. And once contact is made with that, right, it can't be maintained. It can't be maintained because you got to come back into light. You got to come back into the game. You got to come back into time and space. You got to come back into the body. You got to come back into the person. You got to come back into the story of your life, right? But now when you come back, who you are that came back exists, not just who you thought you were when you come back. Now, that can be, as I said earlier, that can be a process in which you need to have some guidance. You need to have somebody tell you that you're fine, you're still who you really are, don't worry. You may start thinking you're crazy again, but you're still who you really are, and that's just a script that you're acting out. It's just a script that you're acting out, yeah. On the one hand, I don't know where I am, right? On the other hand, I know where I am. I'm always here, right? Are you never not where you are? No, so you're always here, right? So that's the other side of the coin. I don't know where I am, and I'm always here. So I'm lost, but I'm found, right? When I was in Russia, I had that experience in Moscow, right? A friend of mine took me to dinner, you know. We got on a subway and got to Red Square from the subway, walked in Red Square to a restaurant, had dinner. After dinner, she said, "Oh, I gotta meet some people. I'll see you later. You'll find your way back." I said, "What? What? I don't speak Russian. I don't know nothing. I don't know where I'm at, you know." I was staying at a place. I had a general sense of where it was, but how? What the hell? It was the same kind of experience. And the thing about it was there was the me that was concerned because I'm vulnerable. I don't speak the language. If anybody finds out I don't know what's going on, they could take advantage of me, right? So there's that stuff that was playing, right? And then what am I going to do? You know, all that's playing. And at the same time, there was another experience that was happening simultaneously in which I was totally relaxed. Totally relaxed, and I could look around and say, this is a very interesting experience, you know, to not know where I am, what to do, where to go next, nothing, right? So what did I do? I actually talked about this because I had to give a talk at the University of Moscow, and this is what I talked about to these students, right? About my experience of this happening in Red Square. And I stopped and I said to myself, okay, so what do I do here? So I thought about it, I said, oh, I know. I'll turn this into a television show game that I'm playing. And the game is they're going to drop me off in Moscow, and there's a place you have to get to. And the game is, you know, can you get there without any help, and how long will it take? So I was now in a TV show, right? So I thought, oh, this is kind of interesting, right? And I thought, well, what will I do? What will I do? So I realized I had my phone, right? So I took my phone out, and I could look on my phone at the Google map and see where I was in Moscow. So I looked at the phone, I could see where I was in Moscow, and I could see from where I was where the underground subway was, right? So I just followed it on my phone until I got there, went down into the subway, and then it was like, okay, there's trains going this way and trains going that way. Which train do I take, right? So I figured, well, I'll get on the train and I'll just watch on my phone, right? So I get on the train, I watch on my phone, and I could see the dot going away from where I needed to go. So I got off the train and went to the other side, got on the train going the other way, and just watched it on my phone until I got to the station I got in on, walked up there, just followed on my phone, walked right to the door of the place where I was living. And the whole thing was fun. The whole thing was fun. So this is what I talked about when I gave the talk to the students at Moscow University, right? Because I was trying to get across to them the possibility of not being stuck in your mind in life, you know? And when you find yourself in situations that are challenging, instead of freaking out about it, see if you can recontextualize it, see if you can create a context for it that's interesting and fun. And do it that way. Why? Because you probably have a much better chance of success that way than being freaked out. Right? And the students actually liked it, and the students liked it. And the woman that brought me there to do the talk came up to me afterward and she said, "I don't know what you're talking about." I said, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it."